right, today we are going to talk about change. Change. I mean, this is one word that we hear every single day because change is a part of life. So what is change anyway? It is an act or a process through which something becomes different or substituting one thing for another. I personally grew up not liking change. I mean, I want to put you there, you stay there. I want to put the thing there, it stays there, you know. Unfamiliar grounds and chattering unfamiliar grounds just wasn't something that I was interested in. And it is something that happens to many of us, you know, until a certain point in my life where I grew up and I understood that, you know what, change is a part of life. It's going to happen. You know, we are living in a world that is constantly changing. Our bodies are changing. The economic system is changing. The environment is changing. You know, our family members are changing. So I came to that understanding. I want us to remember the COVID and what happened. This was something that was thrown on us. It was thrown on us. We didn't expect it. We didn't know how. At some point, we didn't know how to respond to it, but it came. And during that time, I saw so many people, for example, the guys that used to wear their suits and coats and sit in front of their laptops. I saw them roll up their sleeves and go and start gardening work and start farming. I saw people start baking businesses and all kinds of businesses. And it was a change that was thrown on us, but at some point, there are things that came out of it. For example, you see companies changed the way that they work. They decided, you know what, you're going to work from home. And when people started working from home and the lockdowns were lifted, some companies realized, oh, you can actually achieve work when workers are working from home. And so they kept the policies, you know. That was a change that happened to us. You find that, you know, there are so many things that happen. And so when if we had to look at the types of change, I think this is where I'm most interested as I'm introducing, you know, this topic. We have planned change, and this is a deliberate, unconscious effort to move in a new direction or achieve a new goal. You could decide and say, it's deliberate, you know. You could say, I'm going to save more money, I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going to move house, I'm going to change my children from one school to another, I'm going to move from one country to another. I mean, it is a deliberate change. You know, it's conscious. You're like, this is going to change in my life. Then, the one that is most interesting, that I actually abhorred, I hated it, was that just happens to you. That is unplanned change. It's not conscious. It just happens. For example, the COVID, or sometimes the economic system, you know, the policies that they change, they're going to find you down here. You didn't call for it, you didn't participate, yeah, but then it kind of finds you, you know. For example, look at losing a loved one. Looking at, you never plan for something like that to happen. Never, you know, in life. You losing a job. You know, and that is why we're doing this podcast. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because there's so many things that happen to us. There's so many changes that happen in our lives, and sometimes we just don't know how to deal with them. Sometimes we are stuck. It is unfamiliar ground. You're like, how do I get from A to Z? You know, and so that's why we're doing this podcast, so that we can be able to understand that change is part of life, and come up with solutions, you know, that can help us cope, that can help us embrace this change. Because as long as you are a living human being and still have a heartbeat and all, there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to happen in life, right? So, for a disclaimer, I think there are some changes that should be resisted, depending on your personal decision. Because now, for example, I'm just going to give an example of it. Imagine if your work schedule changed and they were making you work day and maybe part of the night, and you sleep a little and your health starts to deteriorate. I mean, it's forced on you, it's unplanned, but it is something that you can plan to get out of because your life is more important than any kind of work, or maybe it's affecting family life. I don't know what your values are. There are changes, of course, that we resist, but there are changes that we should embrace, and there are changes that will happen regardless of whether you embrace it or not. It's going to happen, okay? So I would like us to look at why we should embrace change. I mean, the advantages that come with things changing in our lives. I'll give you an example. Change actually stretches us to realize our potential. Change stretches us to realize our potential. Before long, you realize, oh my God, actually, I am this gifted. I am this agile. I am this flexible. I did not know that I could hold out like this. I have a certain level of patience. It has grown in me. So because now, for example, look at the COVID and what happened. People began businesses and they never went back. They never went back into normal employment because they realized, oh, I can actually make money a different way. People started to change their family time. The times that they used to work so hard, they were like, no, I can actually stay home a lot more. And it was an option, you know, that was presented to them. But if that forced change wasn't put upon them, I mean, upon us, there are things that we wouldn't have done. People started to save more because now they knew that, you know what, I need an emergency fund. If something like this were to happen again, what am I going to do? So that is what change does. It stretches you to realize your potential. This one, I like it. You skill up. Change enables you to skill up. Imagine you get a new manager and they come and they say, for this kind of work that we're going to do in this season, I want you to learn AI tools, how to use AI tools. And this is practically you going onto the computer, going to the web, and you learn to use AI tools, artificial intelligence tools. And these are these kinds of skills that probably are forced on you are going to actually increase your marketability in the near future. Because now when you understand what the trend is, for example, the future trend of artificial intelligence, AI, then you are able to be employed in probably more areas than another person that doesn't know those tools. So if that is something that has been thrown on you as a change that you didn't really call for, then it is actually something good. So change helps us to skill up, and I think it is a very good thing. It kills monotony and gives fresh energy. There are people that you look at and they're going to work and they're bored. Their lives are, you just see a bored person. I've been there. You're just bored. Like everything is just the same. We are human beings. We like things to change. Even the ones that have the disorder of, I don't want this to change. There is a certain kind of spice of life that you need, you know. You imagine getting like maybe a new manager, I don't know, I'm using this a lot, and they change up certain things about the workplace. They change up shifts, they change up certain kinds of ways in which you're working. And then you realize, oh, actually, I think this kind of job is manageable. I think I can stay here. Because we don't like monotony in life, even our own personal lives. You know, you reach a point and you say, you know what, this bed has been here for so long. I'm not enjoying myself. My sitting room has been the same for this long. I know, I'm going to change it. So change helps us to kill the monotony of life. It changes the pace, you know, and as long as you're living, there is going to be a certain kind of change that is going to happen. But in such cases where you find that things are so monotonous and all, this is a point where you need to go for planned change. You know, things don't need to always force you to make a change in your life. Go for a planned change. Say, you know what, I don't like the way this sitting room looks like. I'm going to change it. I don't like the way my work schedule is. I'm going to change it. I don't like actually my job. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And so you say, you know what? Gradually, I'm going to make a plan of an exit into something else. And so you find that it gives you a fresh energy for life. And that is change. Planned, it kills the monotony and gives a fresh energy. Now, change also helps us grow our flexibility muscle. I met a woman, a businesswoman. She owns a spa, of course, that has a gym. Then she owns a hotel and a supermarket. Now, what she does for her workers is that you find the cashier down at the supermarket is going to go up and serve food. You find someone that is working the kitchen. They're going to tell them to go do the reception at some point. You find the ones that are working in the supermarket are changed up and they say, you know what, you're going to go and do this, you're going to work in the spa, you're going to work. And so I looked at that lady, and there's a way she made her workers flexible enough to be able to accommodate. Even if someone wasn't there for the day, the work is still going to get done, you know, because that I admired her business model for herself, you know. And so that is what change does for our lives. For example, look at the changes that happen all over our lives from the time we were born. And I will use an example of myself. I've done all kinds of businesses. Oh my goodness, I've done a lot of businesses. Some have failed, some have succeeded, some I've just moved away from and grown, you know, outgrown them. But what does that help? It means that if you put me anywhere in any situation, there is a high chance that I'm going to be flexible and adaptable. And probably I'll be able to do this business or the other business, or you find you're just a flexible person. You're not rigid that this is for me what I'm meant to do. No. So change along the path of life helps us to be flexible, and that is why we should embrace it. So why are we doing this podcast? Why are we having this space? There's so many changes that happen in our lives. Some people get married and things don't work out. Some people lose jobs. Some people begin businesses. Some people, they're dealing with different kinds of sicknesses. Maybe it is family members. Maybe there's just so much. The political landscape changes. And so you find that we have all these kinds of changes that are happening. And so how do we deal with them? And so in this space, we are going to be just helping ourselves navigate the changes that happen in our lives. We're going to equip ourselves with tools and just create awareness that, you know what, change is part of life. Don't be rigid about it. Regardless, it is going to change. Things are going to change around you. And so that is what we're going to be doing. And at this point, I'm going to ask you kindly, nicely, beautifully, go and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification button, and you'll be able to get all these fresh episodes. If you're lucky, I'll probably have a guest or two, and we'll be able to look at, you know, the things that affect us and how we can deal with them. We'll have the tools. I can promise you that you're not going to regret it. So subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and if you like this, you can share it with a friend and say, you know what, this channel is going to help you. All right, I'll see you next time in the next episode. This is Turning a Leaf with Barbara. Ciao.